Well, welcome to our new program, which is our weekly program called Real Estate Investor Update. And so we thought that we would bring it to you in a video format, but also an opportunity where you could interact and ask questions yourself. Because we get a lot of questions ourselves from you, so we thought this is a way to reach out to you. Okay, so I think, Drew, let's talk about what are the trends which are happening in the market right now. I think a big thing is this whole offshore Brexit bomb which hit everybody.
Yeah.
And if we actually look what happened, I mean, the pound is at the lowest ever, I think, in 30 years versus the US dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's been benefits for some investors, both locally and offshore, but there's also been winners and losers. And in particular in the UK at the moment, those people that are a bit heavy on the UK side, they've taken a bit of a bath. We look at some of our more sort of high net worth, ultra high net worth investors, some of them have suffered. So talk a little bit about the currency and the fluctuation, where we're standing now, because I know we did a big story in the latest edition.
Yes. Well, we actually speak quite a bit about the Brexit effect and how specifically it affects local investors. But the question we're being asked quite a lot is now the ideal time for people to start investing offshore? As you said, the pound is at a 30-year low. I think at the moment it's 17.23 rand to the pound. The rand to the US dollar is 13.32. So,
and how does that compare with, say, 3 months ago?
Well, 3 months ago the rand was like 22.
23? 23?
It seems to be an ideal time for investors to start looking overseas.
So it's a window of opportunity almost. And it's almost that volatility starts presenting itself as opportunity. So this is what we're going to recognize as investors, and I think this is where your savvy investor is sitting on the sidelines looking for opportunities like it. But the question is, Drew, where do you invest?
Well, that's the thing, because as we just said, England itself seems quite attractive at the moment, but then you also have Europe, you have the EU, you've got Portugal's golden visa, which is quite an attractive.
You've got the United States with good dollar returns.
Yeah. You've got somewhere like Cyprus, which has its residency program. So it seems there's a lot of options, and people want to know where.
Exactly. And I think, just to give a quick, simple answer, I think it all depends on, first of all, the individual, your appetite for investment. Are you looking for lifestyle? Are you looking for yield returns? Are you looking for more safe or passive investing, like a listed kind of return, which you can do on a listed company on the JSE? So there are various options and multiple options, and I don't think there's one fixed answer for any particular investor. So yeah, just taking it one step further, I think what's also trending at the moment, Drew, is this whole student accommodation. It seems to have taken off in a big way. 2 new companies listing on the JSE, Respublica, which is a spin-off of Redefine, and Campus Key. And I know this seems to be a big focus point, in particular for a number of property developers and investors, and even individual investors. And we did a story with that recently.
We did last year, the November edition.
I think it's time for update.
I think so. As you said, you've got those 2 companies who have just listed. We had the Feesmas 4 protest earlier this year.
Yes. And it seems it could even rear its head again.
Well, that's
by the looks of it.
It came down to accommodation.
Accommodation, absolutely. So we also bring you the properties and the investments as well. So you will see on our website there will be some more stock availability and opportunities for you to invest.
We receive quite a lot of questions from our readers, and we thought this would be quite a good medium to interact with you in that way. So the question for this week comes from Bukanze Mpanza, and he asks, before I buy my first property, I need to know real estate investment analysis to calculate how an income property will perform. Which books do you recommend I read before starting my property journey? Okay,
it's a great question, Drew, because I think there's a lot of newbie investors out there starting out for the first time. And I think the way to start is absolutely to read lots of books, access lots of websites, attend seminars, workshops, as many as you can, and learn as much as possible. The first books I used in particular, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, was the one book that really got me going about property, and the second one was written by Robert Kiyosaki, who I interviewed quite a few times recently.
Well.
And we featured him a number of times, as one of our contributors, and of course Dr. Riss.
Yes.
We worked with a number of years And I've known Dolph since 2004 and certainly followed him since then. But Real Estate Riches is a great book. So let's end off. I said the property tip of the week. And I think there was John Templeton that said that, that's when all the opportunities sort of present itself, when markets are in a really, really tough position. And so while we might see that it's really tough out there, tough times in the economy, opportunities do present themselves. You just got to be aware to them. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, Drew.
Thanks a lot.
And we see you next week. And please, guys, send us your questions.